The amount of time that people spend at Grover Hot Springs is normally distributed with a mean of 80 minutes and a standard deviation of 18 minutes. Suppose that one person at the hot springs is randomly chosen. Let X be the amount of time that a person spent at Grover Hot Springs. We're going to round all answers to 4 decimal places where possible. Now for part A, they're just asking for the notation. This is the normal distribution. So that's why there's this N here. And then we're going to put in the mean in the first spot. We always put the mean and then the standard deviation. Part B says, what is the probability that a randomly selected person at the hot spring stays longer than 102 minutes? So for part B, we have our picture that looks like this. 80's in the middle. Our standard deviation is 18. Longer than 102 minutes means we're looking for this area here. So 102 is to the right of the mean, and we're looking for this area here. So we're going to use NormalCDF. We're going to put in our lower bound, which is 102, our upper bound, which is 1E99, our mean, and then our standard deviation. When we do that, we should get, if we round it to 4 places, 0.1108. Okay, now in part C it says, the Park Service is considering offering a discount for the 4% of patrons who spend the least amount of time at the hot springs. What is the longest amount of time that they can spend at the hot springs and still receive the discount? So the author of this question is looking for that cutoff point for the lowest 4%. So if we look at our picture, lowest 4% is going to be over here. We're looking for that value that gives us the cutoff point for that lowest 4%. So we're going to do inverse norm. We're going to put in that our percentile is 0.04. Our mean is 80. And our standard deviation is 18. And then, of course, when we round that to 4 places, we get 48.4876. And that's in minutes. So in order for the person to get the discount to be in that lowest 4%, they need to spend less than about 48 minutes at the springs. Okay, part D says, find the interquartile range for the time spent at the hot springs. So in order to do that, we need to find our Q1 and our Q3 because the IQR is Q3 minus Q1. So for part D, we need to find the first quartile. So what is that value so that everything to the left is 25%? And then the third quartile is where everything to the left is 75%. So we got to do inverse norm twice. So we're going to do inverse norm twice. So I'm going to do inverse norm, and I'll do the 25th percentile, which is our Q1 first. That's going to give me, when you put that in the calculator and we round to 4 decimals, 67.8592. Now we got to do inverse norm for 75%. That's this value here is the 25%. That's the 67.8592. Now we're looking for the 75th percentile. So I'm going to put in 0.75, 8018. That's going to give me 92.1408. So that's this number here, that cutoff point. This is 92.1408. So now we know what the 2 quartiles are. So to find the interquartile range then, I need to take the 2 and subtract them. So I'm going to take 92.1408 and I'm going to subtract 67.8592. And when I do that, I'm going to get 24.2816. So this is our interquartile range. And then down here we have the 25th percentile, which is our Q1. And here is our 75th percentile, which is Q3.